Hey guys, I just wanted to put together a quick video on my reflection of 3 weeks of no sugar. And what I mean by that is zero added sugars. I did consume natural sugars, but just in moderation. I eat fairly healthy for the most part, but I do have my vices. And I make the excuse to consume sugar more than I should sometimes. With all the training I do, I think, what's a little bit of sugar gonna hurt? And, sometimes I get carried away. I do have an addictive personality, and food is definitely one of my vices. And yeah, I just want to share my experience with you guys of 3 weeks of no added sugars. So just to get into a couple reasons why I kind of started this mini cleanse, I guess you could say, is for starts, 3 weeks, they say, is what it takes to form new habits and kind of, get rid of old ones. So I figured I'd take 3 weeks and really just, dedicate myself. But my main goal was to, maybe shed a bit of extra weight, mainly probably water weight, look better, feel better, less brain fog, better cognitive abilities. And another thing is lowering inflammation levels in the body, because sugar does cause a lot of inflammation. So I really wanted to see the difference, my body would have with zero sugar. And yeah, so I'll get right into it. And I'm gonna get into kind of what I ate and what keeps me going and any tips I can share with you guys. So hope you guys enjoy. So basically, I just avoided foods with obviously the main ingredient being sugar. But however, there's a lot of food that says no sugar, whether it's, coffee creamers, any box food, any sauces, and they may say no sugar or not have sugar. However, there's things like maltodextrin, sucralose, glucose, and high fructose corn syrup. So I basically tried to avoid at all costs any added sugars, as well as these kind of hidden sugars. And you can find, a list of these online. There's a lot of hidden sugars that they put in things. So the main thing, if you're eating whole foods, not buying any box food, which I don't eat too often, pretty rarely actually. My main thing was avoiding sauces, because even ketchup can have a bit of sugar. So yeah, just really eating a lot of whole foods, even with certain breads. They're, even they have a little bit of sugar. I'll get into it with bread, and I'll talk about some bread that has zero sugar. Mainly eating whole foods and eating healthy, and eating at home is a big key to making this happen, because when you're out, it's hard to get takeout when you don't really know what's in your food. So, eating at home is big. Get right into some of the foods I ate and I wanted to share with you guys. So I'm gonna get right into it with no particular order of, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. I'm just gonna kind of throw some things at you guys of what I ate along my journey. And I wanna get started with talking about cereals. Now, oats were great for this kind of cleanse because there's no added sugars. Regarding oats, you want to make sure you get Quaker oats. You can't get those instant oats, because often those will have, added sugars. So Quaker oats or any organic oats. And what I do is mix coconut milk, zero sugar. It's a great breakfast if you add coconut milk, oats, and some frozen berries. It really tastes like a dessert. Gives you slow burning energy throughout the day. So it's a great breakfast and just a great alternative in its own of kind of curbing a sweet craving. There's a lot of other cereals I like. For example, there's this Terra brand granola. However, there's a little bit of cane sugar added to the cranberries in this. And even though it's very minimal, I wanted to stay all in for this cleanse. So no cereals. It's really hard to find cereal unless you make your own granola that has zero sugars. I wanted to share, there's a great pancake mix that's sugar-free. It is a ketogenic pancake mix, and it's made of almond flour. I have it here and there when I really feel like I want some pancakes, but really don't want to feel bloated and savage after. So basically, it's made of almond flour, and you can use pure maple syrup. Make sure it's 100% pure. Also something you can have as a breakfast, and it also curbs that sugar craving. Regarding the natural, 100% maple syrup, I kept that in moderation. During this cleanse, I'm not going overboard with the syrup, and just keeping it in moderation. And another thing is almond butter. Now, almond butter is great. You can, add it on top of the pancake. It's just great as a snack. You can have, almond butter and slices of apple together. and it's really filling, and I find that's been a great help as well. And just to talk a little bit about sugar replacements, there's stevia and there's monk fruit. Now regarding stevia, I never like the taste of it really. If it's mixed in something, I don't mind. Like for example, that last pancake mix I shared has a stevia for sweetener, but I find it's a bit too much of a fake taste. But a bit of an improvement is this monk fruit powder. It's a great sugar replacement, monk fruit extract, and that is a great option as well. Another thing I wanted to talk about, which I kind of use as a snack here and there, is dates. Now, regarding dates, they are really high in natural sugars, so I try to keep, dates fairly low. I just had a few here and there. They are pretty, rich in a sense, so a couple dates here and there definitely help curb some of that sugar craving. One food I like to have, especially after training, and it's just convenient, is, a good protein shake. And one thing I wanted to recommend, I'm not sure if you're in Canada or USA, but in Canada they have this ISO advanced protein powder. It has all the BCAAs, branched chain amino acids. And the great thing about this one is it's sugar free and it's sweetened with monk fruit and stevia. Another topic to bring up on the subject of protein, a little secret to how to get through this easier is consuming lots of protein and even fat to make you feel full. Really makes a difference as well. I wanted to touch base on the subjects of marinades. Now, if you want to have a barbecue or you want to marinate some meat, a lot of store-bought sauces will have, added sugars. So I try to use, natural sauces anyway and make my own. But, a good alternative is Worcestershire sauce. Always have trouble saying that one. Mixed with a bit of soy sauce. And regarding soy sauce, I actually use a soy substitute that's really good, and it's low sodium as well. So you're mixing that with a little bit of Worcestershire sauce, and add some ginger, garlic, maybe some hot sauce. Can be a great marinade and sugar-free. I wanted to talk a little bit about dressings, and I do like to have a good salad, fairly often. So, initially, there's a few store-bought sauces I really like. For example, there's this orange balsamic dressing. It's amazingly great, but however, there's a little bit of added sugars. So for this cleanse, I just mainly tried to make my own dressings, which I do often as well. So for example, just some suggestions, add some olive oil, some balsamic vinegar or red wine vinegar, and some lemon juice, and maybe a bit of natural honey as well. And that could be a great alternative for dressing as well, and even apple cider vinegar in there too. Next thing I wanted to talk about is honey. Now, in regards to honey, you got to be a little careful. It is a natural sugar if you go with the right honey. Now, there's some honeys that are processed, and there's sugar in the process that goes into that honey. So what you want to look for is a honey that's unpasteurized. The best way to find a good honey is go to your local honey shop and just get an all natural honey. Regards to honey, I kept it in moderation because I still try to keep the natural sugars low, as I was saying. But honey is a great way to curb the sugar craving. And the next thing I wanted to talk about, and this happens to be one of my favorite things to make a hot drink with in the evening, is cocoa. And this you can bake with cocoa, and it has no sugar. Makes you feel great. It puts you in a good mood. High in iron. So having natural cocoa, what I do is I'll mix a bit of cocoa, hot water, and going back to the coconut milk, a little bit of coconut milk and a touch of honey, maybe a bit of cinnamon, and it just makes, a really beautiful drink. It tastes great. It curbs that sweet craving. A lot of times when I feel like sweets, I will just have a hot cup of natural cocoa powder, in the mix, and really that helps a lot of the time as well. Just while I'm on the subject of coconut milk, one thing I wanted to suggest, which I do from time to time, I'll take coconut milk and a bunch of chia seeds and make a chia pudding, leave it overnight. It's another great way to curb the sweet craving, and it tastes great. It's healthy, good healthy fats, omega-3s and 6s. And it's a really great alternative to your sweet craving. One thing I wanted to mention when we're talking about kind of dessert fix as well, a good healthy mix is getting some Greek yogurt. Now, in regards to Greek yogurt, some of them do have added sugars. So you want to look for ones with a high protein ratio, and those are the ones that usually have no added sugars. So there's this plain Greek yogurt, and what I will do, it has 16 grams of protein per serving, so it helps you feel full. I'll mix some berries and maybe a tiny bit of honey, and that's another great dessert alternative and a breakfast alternative as well, or any time per day for that matter. A nice snack alternative, which I really like, I have this, on a regular basis as well, but I use it with a cleanse, is get some hummus and have hummus and vegetables. It's a great healthy snack alternative to throw into the mix. I wanted to talk a little bit about sandwiches, and regarding bread, it can be hard to find a bread with 0 traces of sugar, but this Ezekiel bread has 0 sugar. And regarding what I put on my sandwiches on this no sugar cleanse, I use the hummus, for example, and I found this pesto that's made from scratch, no added sugars. So if you look around a bit, go to a local shop and try to find, made from scratch pesto, for example, and the hummus is great for the sandwich as well. And so that's kind of what I did with the bread component for no sugar. The next thing I want to bring up is cinnamon. And cinnamon is great. It lowers blood sugar levels, also curbs the sweet craving. I love cinnamon in the hot drinks or the oatmeal in the morning. Cinnamon's great. Add that to the mix as well. Now I wanted to talk a little bit about coffee. In the morning, most of the time, I actually like my coffee black just as is. But what you can do if you want a creamer, some of the creamers have sugar. Now, regarding creamers, I try to go no dairy as much as possible. And there's this brand Silk, and there's this half and half creamer. It's a mix of, I believe, oat and almond milk. And it's one of the few that has 0 added sugars to it. I will attach a picture in a moment here. And that's another great option as well for coffee. Another thing I wanted to mention regarding creamers, you really got to be very cautious, because I'll give you an example. There's this one brand by International Delight. It's a 0 sugar French vanilla they just launched. It says 0 sugar, but if you look at the fine print, there's maltodextrin, which is a hidden added sugar. So read the fine print, because they kind of get you that way sometimes. Just they have the big 0 sugar label on the front, and it can really, trick you at first glance. And I'll attach a picture of that right now. Now, sometimes during a no sugar cleanse, we naturally crave some chocolate. And I actually picked this up from Costco, which is a great alternative. It is a 0 sugar keto bomb, and they're great. It's a dark chocolate peanut butter and a dark chocolate fudge brownie. Has 0 sugar, and you can get this at Costco. In Canada, they have it here. Even if you're in the USA, I'm sure there's lots of alternative. Costco can be great for that. Just again, read the labels. I'm almost wrapped up here regarding the food suggestions and what I ate. One thing I wanted to touch base on, be craving a pastry item or a baked item on the cleanse, and you can use almond flour or coconut flour for baking. And often what I'll do, a few times a year, I'll make a really good almond flour banana bread, natural sugars, and with a little tiny drizzle of maple syrup on, can be really tasty. Add some nuts in there, add some flaxseed, and that could be a great alternative. Another important tip I wanted to mention regarding food is it's really important to know what you're going to have the day of when you're going to eat. I'll give it a bit of an example. Is for lunch at work, I made a big lentil soup, high protein. I had some chicken in there, lots of vegetables, spinach, and it was a really dense, fulfilling soup. And I made enough to last a week, and I freeze some as well. It's really important to have the food item ready, because what happens, I notice for myself, is if you don't know what you're going to eat, your mind tends to wander, especially when you're hungry. You get off work, you're thinking, oh, maybe I can go get this takeout, or maybe I can get this, and you're more likely to make a mistake. But if you have a plan in place, with food made, have that lunch ready, know what you're going to take to work that day for lunch, that really makes all the difference for sure. And I hope you guys enjoyed. So to finish off, I wanted to talk a little bit about the benefits I noticed overall. The first thing is increased energy. I did notice less burnout throughout the day. Definitely more clarity. I could think a lot more clear. Another thing, we sometimes think of sugar, so not having it as an option gave me the time to prioritize other things. I won't be thinking about, maybe I can have a little sweet here and there. So definitely that helped. One of the big takeaways that I noticed was I had way less joint pain when I was waking up in the morning, maybe after the first almost week of zero added sugar. Was I woke up in the morning, I had such a clean feeling around all my joints. Like sometimes, there'll be a little bit of aches. Besides natural body pains, like actual joint pain was definitely decreased. And regarding weight loss, I did notice maybe about 6 or 7 pounds of weight lost. Now, the ticket here, if you really want to see results, is to keep your overall carbohydrates low, doing this kind of cleanse. I was kind of half and half. My main goal is staying away from sugar, and I did keep the carbohydrates relatively low, but I think I could have even seen more weight loss if I kept the carbs a bit low as well. But my main goal is to stay away from the sugars. And in conclusion, this was a great way to reset the body. And it's a good way to really draw the line in the sand and say, okay, listen, I want to start some new, fresh habits. And this really helped me, get to that moment and, building a good long-term habit in replacement of, times we crave these sugar and whatnot. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy and take care.